Hey, my name is Casey Kai, and today is April 23rd, and I'm going to be talking about cells today, going into specific detail about animal cells, plant cells, and prokaryotic versus eukaryotic cells. But before we get into that, a fun fact is that our body contains about 37.2 trillion cells. The first thing to talk about is the unified cell theory, which was made up by Schwann and Schleiden. And basically, they had to say that all cells come from other cells and all life is made of cells. The next thing is that cells cannot be too big if they want to function, and this is specifically a problem in animal cells. The larger the cell, the larger the surface area, and this can definitely become a problem when they're taking in materials like foods and gases while they're eliminating waste as well. This isn't really a problem in plant cells because the central vacuole never lets it get too big. The next thing is prokaryotic cells versus eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells are smaller, don't have a nucleus, and lacks formed organelles, while a eukaryotic cell is larger, has a nucleus, and has formed organelles. Both have a plasma membrane, which is made of phospholipids, and it's filled with a cytosol, which is an aqueous solution that holds everything in the cells. They also both have DNA. And the plasma membrane is in both eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cells, and the phospholipid bilayer inside acts as a divider between the two. The major function of this is it decides what enters and leaves the cell, such as water, waste, and lots of other things. Some plasma membranes work specifically to absorb things, and they do this by having a microvilli. The microvilli also works to increase the surface area. They also both share ribosomes, which are responsible for protein synthesis. They can be attached to the plasma membrane or the cytoplasmic side. They also can be attached to the nuclear envelope or rough endoplasmic reticulum. They take orders from DNA that have been transcribed into messenger RNA for protein synthesis. And mRNA works with ribosomes by traveling the ribosomes to translate the code into a unique order of amino acids in the protein abundant in every cell. Okay, the prokaryotic cells are broken into two divisions, and that's the archaea and bacteria. Archaea is mostly found in the Earth's most extreme environments, and they have lots of adaptations to learn how to survive. Some also can live in anaerobic conditions. The bacteria are the larger of the two, and they can be found almost anywhere. And most believe the bacteria are harmful, but most are actually helpful. Eukaryotic cells have a lot of formed organelles, and it has a true nucleus. The first organelle in the eukaryotic cells that we're going to talk about is the cytoplasm, and that covers all the area between the plasma membrane and nuclear envelope. It contains water as well as proteins, glucose, simple sugars, polysaccharides, and a lot of other stuff. Metabolic reactions occur here. The next organelle we're going to talk about is the most important organelle in the cell, and that's the nucleus. It's the control center, and it holds the cell's DNA and directs the synthesis of ribosomes and proteins. The next thing we're going to talk about is chromatin and chromosomes. And chromosomes are linear structures. They're only visible when cells are about to divide, and the proteins attach to chromosomes when the cell is growing, and this leads to unwound protein. The chromatin is the material that makes up the chromosomes, both when condensed and decondensed. The next thing to talk about is the nucleolus, and this is within the nucleus, and it's the site of the ribosomal RNA synthesis and work to make the associated proteins, which leads to them being transported to the nucleus and into the cytoplasm. Okay, the next one is the mitochondria, which is also known as the powerhouse of the cell. It's responsible for making ATP, and it does cellular respiration, which is the process of making ADP using the chemical energy in glucose and other nutrients. They each have their own ribosomes and DNA. Each membrane has a phospholipid embedded with proteins. The inner layer has folds called cristae, and area surrounded by the folds is the mitochondrial matrix. The next thing is the animal cells versus plant cells. Animal cells only have a lysosome and centrioles, while the plant cells have the central vacuoles and the cell wall and the chloroplast. The lysosomes in the cell is the cell's garbage disposal, and that breaks down lots of different things inside the cells. The cell wall is a rigid covering that's on top of the cell membrane that further helps protect the plant cells. The chloroplast has their own DNA and ribosomes, and it carries out photosynthesis for the plant cells. And then the central vacuole contains lots of waters, and it stores lots of things, and it also maintains rigidity in the cell wall that helps plants stand up. The endoplasmic reticulum that's on here it modifies proteins and synthesizes lipids, and it has a smooth and a rough. And then the next one to talk about is the Golgi apparatus, which sorts, packages, and tags proteins so that they have the right place to go to. And then another few things to talk about are the microfilaments, which are small hollow tubes composed of polymerized dimers of A tubulin and B tubulin. And then flagella is long hair-like structures that extend from the plasma membrane and enable an entire cell to move. And these are just like a couple drawings, a rough drawing of the animal cell. And this is the cell membrane. The nucleus. The nucleolus. The mitochondria. The rough endoplasmic reticulum. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum. The Golgi apparatus. And then the centrioles. And then the lysosome. And in the plant cell, there's the cell membrane, the cell wall, the nucleus, nucleolus, central vacuole, rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, the mitochondria, and that's about it. And if you want to find out more information about this, you can go to Top Hat to further read about it.